Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here, and today I wanted to make a new type of video on Pokemon abilities that should be buffed. This is all my opinion, but I would love to know yours. So if there's any abilities that I actually didn't mention on this list that you want to see buffed yourself, leave a comment down below and let me know how you would buff it. Of course, if you're also new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. We're on our way to 300,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And yeah, let's get right into the first ability. So we're going to start off this video with the ability Runaway. Now, if you don't know how Runaway works, basically it enables you to flee from a wild Pokemon 100%. It doesn't matter about the level. It doesn't matter if they have the ability Arena Trap, Magnet Pull, Shadow Tag, or if they have trapped you with an actual move like Bind or Fire Spin. You can get away from that Pokemon. Now, in competitive Pokemon, we actually have an item that does something very similar. It's called the Shed Shell. The Shed Shell lets you get away from Pokemon with trapping abilities. So if I have a Skarmory out and my opponent has a Magnet Zone with Magnet Pull, they can actually leave me in there and I can't switch and I can get Thunderbolted. But if I have the Shed Shell, I can switch out. Unfortunately, Runaway has no competitive use, but I don't understand why they just don't do what they do versus wild Pokemon battles and, you know, bring that to competitive. So basically, I want Runaway to work exactly how it does, like a Shed Shell in actual competitive battles, allowing Pokemon that have it to get away from other Pokemon 100% of the time. So next up we have Illuminate. Now the way Illuminate works is if this Pokemon is first in your party, the wild Pokemon encounter rate increases by 100%. Now Illuminate literally means to light up. And I feel like if you can see, you can fight. Shout out to Fairly Odd Parents. So the way I would buff Illuminate is basically give it an accuracy buff to Pokemon. Make it, raise it by, you know, the Compound Eyes treatment 1.3 times. And on Pokemon like Starmie and Lantern who would benefit from this, Hydro Pump would have over 100% accuracy and Thunder would be 91% accurate. And I think that'd be such a crazy buff for an otherwise useless ability in competitive. So Anticipation is next, and the way it works is that when the Pokemon enters the field with Anticipation, it'll literally say blank's Anticipation made it shudder if the opponent has a damaging move that's super effective, or they have a one-hit KO move, or they have Self-Destruct or Explosion. Well, I think that ability is incredibly useless. If I have a Ferrothorn out and my opponent has a Charizard, I'm pretty sure I know that a fire type attack is coming this way. But let's take it a little bit further. If I can anticipate that they're going for a fire type attack, I can react, I can respond in real life, right? So why not make it that if you have Anticipation, you have a 1.1% chance additionally of dodging said move, because if I can see it coming, I can defend myself against it. And in Ferrothorn's case, this will make an 85% accurate Fire Blast, 77% accurate, maybe giving Ferrothorn an actual, you know, benefit of running that ability over Iron Barbs. Honey Gather, Pickup, and Ball Fetch are all very similar abilities, whether it's fighting items outside of battle on your Zigzagoons, or you're picking up honey, or you're picking up a Pokeball that you failed to catch your opponent's Pokemon on the first try. Basically, if you don't have an item, they have this chance to pick up said item, or an item in general. But this has no real use in competitive Pokemon because it only works in game, basically. So we can buff that a little bit because there's a move in competitive Pokemon called Knockoff that is very common and it gets rid of items on your opponent's Pokemon or your Pokemon. Now I feel like Honey Gather, Pickup, and Ball Fetch can all be buffed to pick up knocked off items throughout the game, whether it be items that your opponent got knocked off. So if I knocked off Leftovers, for instance, on Corviknight, maybe if I have Pickup as my ability, I can find those Leftovers on the ground if I have no item myself and I can actually take it. Right? Sort of similar to Thief, but it doesn't just work from your opponent's items, but also your items as well. And I feel like this would be a pretty cool buff for abilities that are otherwise or actually completely useless in actual battle. So Damp is already an okay ability, basically blocking things like Explosion, Self-Destruct, etc. But I feel like if you're covered in water and you're damp, we can make that ability a little bit better. Because there was a move called Water Sport that's no longer available in Pokemon Sword and Shield that weakens fire type moves by 67%. Why wouldn't Damp do the exact same thing if the whole thing about Water Sport is you're actually splashing water all over the field, all over the Pokemon, so that way fire type moves are weakened? This Pokemon is already damp, they're already wet, so why not make it a little bit better? And I think that would actually give it some more competitive use. A Pokemon like Swampert, which has Damp, It's already benefits from being resistant to fire, but it would be even that much more resistant to fire, and it could even be an anti-lead from Pokemon that would use Explosion and whatnot. I'm thinking of like back to Gen 4 when Azelf lead would go right for Boom in an attempt to knock out Swampert. Imagine it saying no, but also allowing it to deal with fire-type Pokemon like Heatran at the same time. So Kenai is an ability that's typically overlooked, but basically it prevents other Pokemon from lowering the accuracy of the Pokemon with that ability. On top of it, also lets the Pokemon ignore the target's evasive stages. So if they went for Double Team, it doesn't matter. They still have the same accuracy of their move as usual. But I feel like if you're a Kenai, if you got a sharpshooter, if you can see them, right? I feel like you should be able to hit them. So the way I buff Kenai is that I make it that it cannot miss versus the opponent. Now this is different than No Guard. No Guard means that you and the opponent cannot miss versus each other. But I feel like if you do have Kenai, you should be able to always see the opponent. You should be able to always hit your target. Now this would be pretty cool on Pokemon like Lycanroc Midday, which doesn't share No Guard with Lycanroc Midnight, and it would let it always hit its stone edges. But there are also a few other examples that could be pretty cool with this, but overall I think nothing too broken, which would let Kenai be an okay ability in this case. So Tangofee is an ability that when this Pokemon is confused, all moves used against it have their accuracy halved. That's okay, but very, very situational, and even then when you're confused, you have a chance of hitting yourself. I feel like we could take this a step further, which is, you know, the whole idea of this video, obviously, but I think it should also raise your evasiveness one stage if you miss an attack versus the opponent. Now here's the thought process behind that. You're in a snowball fight with your friends, right? You have a snowball in your hand, your opponent has a snowball in your hand, or your friend. Like, maybe you call your friends opponents in real life, and you know what? I'm not going to judge you. Anyway, you throw a snowball and you miss. Now you know they have a snowball. Instinctively, you turn or start ducking, dodging, hiding to get out of range of that snowball as they throw a snowball at you, and maybe you dodge it because you missed your attack. And you were like, oh man, no, I gotta defend myself. I gotta flee. So I feel like this is something similar that could happen with Tangled Feet as well. Especially like we even see in cartoons, like people tripping to avoid certain things for like comic relief. And I feel like that's something that could also happen when it comes to Pokemon. That would actually give Tangled Feet, you know, a cool way of making up for missing your attack. So our final two abilities are Plus and Minus, which are abilities that have to be together in order for you to receive the benefit. Basically, if you have a Plus and Minus Pokemon out on the field in a double battle, both of them will have a 50% special attack increase, if I am not mistaken. Now, honestly, this is kind of useless because the Pokemon with Plus and Minus that come to mind are Plusle and Minun. Like, there are some combinations that you could actually do with that, but at the end of the day, the benefit isn't really there. However, I feel like this ability can get a lot better and be pretty unique as well because the Pokemon that get it aren't too crazy themselves, besides maybe Toxtricity, which gets Plus. But what I'm basically saying is that if you have Plus, I feel like if you enter the field, it should be +1 special attack for you. Now, the reason I think this isn't anything crazy is because the Pokemon that have Plus are the Mareep line, so Ampharos, Plusle, Klinklang, Dedane or Dedenne, however you say it, and of course Toxtricity. Toxtricity probably being the craziest one there, and maybe going back to Mega Ampharos as well if Megas eventually do come back. But having that +1 special attack would actually make it not a useless ability, and kind of flipping that Minus, I think, could be very similar to Intimidate, but for your opponent's special attack. And I think that'd be pretty cool because we don't really have anything like that at all. And the Pokemon that have Minus are Manectric, Minun, the Klinklang line, and Toxtricity low-key form. So I really like this idea as well with Manectric because if you guys didn't know, when Manectric Mega Evolves, it gets Intimidated as well, which would also lower their attack. So that'd be pretty cool if you're lowering their special attack and their attack with that. But I don't think it'd be anything too broken. At worst, maybe Plus on Toxtricity would be great because it's way stronger than Punk Rock and would boost basically all of its attacks. But that's all I have for you guys. Obviously, let me know your thoughts. I mean, I know some of this stuff is crazy and wild and out there, but that's why I wanted to make this video on that. If you do have any abilities that you think should be buffed, I didn't really, you know, deal too much with the doubles abilities besides my final one with Plus and Minus, but obviously telepathy and things like that could be buffed for singles battles, even though they were specifically made for doubles battles. But if you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another video tomorrow. Goodbye, my friends.